Hello everybody. Thank you for visiting CTFairBet.com. I want to welcome you to our site. Today we're going to talk about Mohegan Sun and their evaluations. But first, as you look at the site, it's about casino transparency and accountability. It's about fair tax revenue. Mohegan Sun and Foxwood's only paying 25%, and you can go to the tax rate tab and see what the actual rates are. It's also about unionizing. It's also about upward mobility for everybody, not just Native Americans. It's also about hearing litigation, not in tribal court. It's about hearing it in state and federal court. It's also about having the state police on board there running the show for licensing, for regulating the gaming, and handling security problems as far as more major infractions. And also to allow non-Native American casinos to operate in the airport, one on 95, and 3 or 4 casinos in Bridgeport. But for right now, I want to get back into what we've been talking about. I used to work at Mohegan Sun, and I'm touching on some things in the meantime to try to address some problems that Mohegan Sun employees cannot go through management or HR for fear of being fired. So since I no longer work there, I can talk about it. But since I brought up the state police, I want to bring up one thing that a couple of employees have brought up to me about Twin Rivers Casino in Rhode Island. Now, I have talked to people there who worked for a year. Do you realize they haven't had one beef on a game in a year? You know why? I believe it's called the Lincoln Police Department is actually on the casino floor with guns, no fights. The security have guns, weapons, no fights. Somebody raises their voice, acts like an animal, uses profanity, they get escorted. The Rhode Island State Police is on the floor. So if you use profanity, you get drunk, you act like an idiot, they show you the door. At Mohegan Sun, unless you draw blood, you're going to stay there. So I want to praise Rhode Island for taking care of their staff and giving the patrons a safe gaming environment. Also, I've heard nothing but great things about this gentleman. I think he's a table games manager, director, whatever they call him, or the casino manager. I understand he treats his employees extremely fair. The place, I understand, is an old racetrack. It may not be the most opulent property, but the employees like the way he treats his employees, that they're safe. They can go talk to him. They have a union that watches their back and management watches their back. They have a grievance process. So again, it may not be the prettiest thing. It may not be the most glamorous thing. But again, it's a much better environment. So again, I want to thank this gentleman. I understand he was at resorts. My old roommates when I started in '81 were from resorts. John Dubitsky and Dave Grossman, a million years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth. But Twin Rivers, thanks for taking care of your staff and the patrons. Mohegan Sun has a beautiful property, so does Foxwood, but it's like Thunderdome over there on the floor sometimes. I've seen fights, people throwing up in trash cans, people taking off their belts, beating each other. I could tell you horror stories. Security tries their best. They're grossly underpaid, grossly understaffed. They kicked the state police off the property, so it's like Thunderdome. So you guys are doing a great job up there. Wish you the best. And all the Foxwood and Mohegan Sun employees, if tomorrow you lose your job and you're looking for a job, I understand Twin Rivers is still looking for some staff, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. Again, It may not be the most opulent, shiny place, but who cares if you're working a place and you got to watch your back every day? Where you can go to a place, maybe it's not the, the most, it's not the, the shiniest thing in the world, but it's a nice place to work. I'll take a nice place to work. Okay, let me get to what I'm going to talk about tonight. It's about the evaluations at Mohegan Sun. Somebody sent me an evaluation. A email. 1, 2, 3 pages. I'm not going to read all this. I don't want to get into this. I'm going to post this. I should say my son. Benicio, are you there?
Yes.
Thank you for speaking up. A lot of times my son whispers. So, I'm not going to read all this, but I'm just going to get into some of the process, what this gentleman has said to me. I'm going to black out some of it because I don't want him to get in trouble, but I want to touch on some of it. Number one, most of the times the floor are too busy to accurately and fairly evaluate a dealer's overall performance for the night, especially when he has 5 or 6 more games to watch. I've seen floors evaluate dealers at the beginning of the shift. How can that be? But they have one person running around doing evaluations. They just bang them out. If the floor is having a bad day, you're screwed, plain and simple. Floor was told by management that they're giving too many reviews, and since the new system was implemented, they need to start lowering the scores for dealers. That in itself is proof that upper management is trying to come up with bad evals for workers. In unrelated matters, you were spot on about Mark. All this guy does is low morale on the gaming floor, make people uncomfortable. He is not personable at all. And among his many unprofessional practices, here is one thing I remember. Was how he used to walk into the pit and actually pull up dealers' pants legs to see if they were wearing black socks. I don't know if this guy has a leg fetish or what, but this sort of behavior is just one of the unprofessional ways he handles himself. He has no business being a director. He doesn't even have the personality to be a good dealer. In closing, I hope you find this information helpful and maybe you can bring this unfair practice to light in your next video. Thank you. I will post this. And one more thing I want to bring to light is the evaluations are basically done by one person, and excuse me. And he does all the evaluations, and they manipulate the scores. I've seen it for myself. The scores get lowered because they don't want people to have such good scores. And you full-time dealers, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I can tell you this much. A union, if it was to come in, and I'm still in negotiation with people, but it's up to you. You have my email address, CTFairBet@gmail.com. You see all these part-time dealers coming in? They're there to take your job. Make no mistake about it. All these bad evaluations you're getting, that's why. So you guys need to get together with one collective voice and email me. And I have nothing to do with this. I'm not going to gain a dollar. I have no dog in the fight. But you got to realize once a union comes in, they have to fire people or lay off people based upon seniority. That's the only thing I can guarantee you. Benefits, pension, I can't. But at Foxwood, it works last one in, first to go. So if you're in 10, 15 years, it's going to be based upon seniority. So in closing, everybody, take care. Great hearing from you. Please sign the petition when you go to CTFairBet.com. Subscribe to our site, and make sure you tell everybody about the site. I got players reaching out to me, and people from Foxwood, Twin Rivers. Make sure you tell other people. Thank you for your time, and I hope I can help everybody. Take care.